Hello, everyone. It is Diva D. I am here, and tonight we are talking about fibroids and intimacy. Go ahead, get you a little notepad, or get you, a little notebook, sheet of paper, get your little phone notes, whatever you need in order to take you some notes, because we're going to be traveling through a lot of things when it comes down to the female reproductive system. Some things you can do. We're going to give you some things you can do to heal. But we're going to start off with the basics. It starts with the foundation. And this video is for those who, I'm not really speaking to those who have severe fibroids where they have to have surgery or you have to have a UFE and they have grown so big for so many years that at this point, you have to, it's almost the size of a baby and you got to give birth. At this point, then you have to get them extracted out of your uterus. But for those of us, such as myself, who have smaller fibroids, who it hasn't got to that point, or you're really unsure if you have them, but you may think you have them, you want to talk about symptoms, you want to talk about all of that, then this is for you. All right, and I'm going to pull up some references as well that you all can see. But this is for those people who are, hey, my stomach is bulging out a little bit, and no matter how hard I work out or what I do, my stomach has never looked like that. That was me. That was the thing that was going on that had me go to the doctor and get checked out and say, hey, I exercise. I work out almost every day. So I'm trying to see why my abdominals are pushed. My stomach is just pushed out and pudgy, right? And I'm like, I'm doing crunches. I'm doing ab work. I'm doing HIIT. I'm doing cycle. I'm doing martial arts. I'm doing it all. Why is my still looking like this? And the rest of my body is not. So it took me, I would say about a couple of years, because it started to pooch out even more. And I was like, okay, let me go get checked out. And I had already felt that something was possibly going on when it came to fibroids, because I was possibly someone just like you that are watching right now. I was like, hey, let me do some research. Let me listen to some videos. Let me read some articles to see what the symptoms are. So one of the symptoms of fibroids is the bulging out of your belly. So the lower abdomen will bulge out. You'll see that you'll carry weight in that area. Another symptom is frequent urination. Because the fibroids are pushing down on your bladder, you'll see yourself having to urinate more frequently than usual. Another symptom could be heavy bleeding or heavy cycles. All right, so your cycles may last longer. They may be heavier. You may feel very tired a lot, because guess what? Those cysts, those little tumors or little fibrocysts, little fibroids, they actually feed off of your blood and they can make you anemic. So a lot of you who are eating ice, or you feel tired all the time, and you don't have a lot of energy. You also may see dark circles around your eyes, different anemic symptoms. Also look into seeing if you have fibroids. All right. Another symptom, which we're going to get into on the second half, is painful sex. You may have painful intercourse. All right. So having sex with your husband or your partner, he may not know if you haven't, discussed this with him, because men obviously wouldn't actually know unless they're that tapped in about fibroids and the symptoms and the pain that can occur while you're having sex because of the pressure. That's one thing. So that's another symptom. So you have the heavy bleeding, you have the bulging of the belly, you have very, very bad cycles. You may be in really, really bad pain, extreme cramps, all of that. All of those are symptoms of you possibly having fibroids. So once you discover that you do, I would say, hey, contact your naturopathic doctor. an integrative medicine specialist, and say, hey, I need to be tested to see, or your OBGYN say, hey, I need to be tested to see if I have fibroids. All right. Sometimes you can even feel them, just depending upon the size. I was very small at the time, and I got a massage one time, and my masseuse was like, what is that? And it was like a little knot. It was like a little ball. And I was like, I don't know what that is. What is that? You can also have a lower back pain because of the pressure from the fibroids. So you may see that, you may think it's some type of sciatic issues, but you're having lower back pain from the pressure of your fibroids. So again, those are some symptoms that you may see when you see that you have fibroids. So you want to go get tested with your OBGYN, your integrative medicine doctor, your naturopathic doctor, whomever you see that is going to test you to see if you have these issues, if you actually have fibroids. So what we're going to do is look into the scientific terminology, because I definitely want you to get all of that before we get into the intimate part, so you all really, really know what is this? Like, what actually is this? So we're going to go to there. And I want to share my screen. We're going to read this together. So hopefully, can you all see and share it? There we go. All right. So uterine fibroids here. So uterine fibroids, they're not cancerous. I want you to understand that. And again, like I'm talking to people who may not even know anything about fibroids, and you think you may have them, you're not sure. You don't have cancer. They're non-cancerous growths, okay? So don't even think that you have cancer, okay? They often appear during your childbearing years, all right? And they are called leiomyomas or myomas. Uterine fibroids aren't associated with an increased risk of uterine cancer and almost never develop into cancer. But one thing that it can deter you from, if you're trying to have children, it can hinder your fertility. But if you do get pregnant, it can help with the removal of the fibroids. I've also researched that. So many women have uterine fibroids sometimes during their lives, but you may not know you have these fibroids because they often cause no symptoms. Your doctor may discover the fibroids incidentally during a pelvic exam or a prenatal ultrasound. So let's go through some symptoms. Again, we already said the heavy bleeding during your cycle, the cycles lasting longer. We've said that. Also, you may have some pelvic pressure and pain. We said the frequent urination, difficulty emptying the bladder. You may also have constipation. And like I said before, you'll have some backache, but also like it says here, you could also have leg pain. Okay. A fibroid can cause acute pain when it outgrows its blood supply and begins to die. All right. So I'm going to get into that because I definitely want to talk about that. Fibroids are generally classified by their location. You have intramural growth inside of the uterine wall, the muscular uterine wall, and you have submucosal fibroids that bulge into the uterine cavity. Subserosal fibroids project to the outside of the uterus. Okay, so you have all these different, you have the intramural, you have the submucosal, and you have the subserosal. And they project on the outside. So you have some that's on the inside of the uterine wall, the muscles. You have some submucosals that bulge in the uterine cavity, and you have some that bulge on the outside of the uterus. Now, all of those play a part on if they are going to slough out or how you're going to go about actually healing. That makes a difference. So when do you see a doctor? Pelvic pain doesn't go away, painful periods, spotting or bleeding during your periods, difficulty emptying your bladder, or you have low blood cell count or anemia. And that was another thing that I had. I did have anemia. All right. So there we go. So that was one of the issues that had me like, hey, what's going on? So I'm like, I had some of those symptoms. Now, one of the things when I went to my doctor, and we did all of the tests, and I found out I had fibroid, which was actually a confirmation because I felt like I had them anyway. She told me that most of them were necrotic. Now, this is what I found out back in I believe it was 2018. I believe it was summer 2018. I do believe it was around about August sometime 2018. That's when I found out. And she said, well, most of them are necrotic, meaning that they are dead. So they're not posing a threat, but you do have some that are small that are not necrotic. She said it could be due to your lifestyle. Reason why. She said, you haven't taken anything. I was like, no, at that point, I wasn't taking anything. I had started Chaseberry, Vitex from, I got some Vitex because I heard that that was good. I did some research and I went and got some Vitex capsules, but I hadn't been taking it long. So she said it was possibly due to my lifestyle. Now, let's talk about lifestyle and fibroids. One thing, ladies, if you find out you have it in the early stages, if you're not too far gone, if you're having these symptoms, you have the bulging of the belly, painful cycles, long periods, painful sex, first thing you're going to have to do is change your diet. You have to change your diet. Now, I didn't know, and I still don't know how long I have had these fibroids, but I do know that I went vegan in 2016. So it could possibly be from those couple of years of me going vegan and actually doing more raw foods and teas and herbs that I was experimenting with at the time since 2015, that I was like 2015, I really started getting more into herbs and doing more herbs. So it could have been the herbal remedies that I was taking, and I didn't know that I had fibroids, plus along with my vegan lifestyle. So no meat, because meat holds those hormones. If you go back and look at the video that I've done before, I think it was on not Sex and Celibacy. I have to look it up. I can't remember. But there's another video that I did, and I talked to you all about actually how to heal the womb and the different herbs that you need to use in order to heal your womb, especially for really bad cycles. No more cramps. There was no more cramps and PMS. So go back and watch No More Cramps and PMS, because that's going to give you the herbal remedies that you need to take for fibroids. Another thing that I did along with the healthy diet, increase the water, get rid of the acidity. You want to do natural spring water. I always say spring water is the best. Then you want to go into alkaline. You want to look at how acidic your diet is. Now, I hate to tell people what herbs to take if you're still going to eat meat. If you're still going to have an acidic diet, putting herbs on top of that is not going to help you heal the womb. You have to have a mindset to say, hey, enough is enough. I'm willing to do whatever it takes in order to heal my body. And one thing that we have a whole lot of control over is what we put in our mouths, what we eat. All right. So what we eat is causing, anemia. What we're eating is causing the fibroid. So we have to remove that from it and then implement those herbs and those foods that's going to help you heal. Right. So heavy bleeding, bad cycles, pain, all of that. Now with me, my cycles are about 3 days. They always have been. That didn't change. And it's still that. I do not have heavy bleeding. So that was not a symptom. I do not have pain during sex. I did not know. That is not a symptom. I do have here and there lower back pain. So that was another. I was like, lower back pain. My symptoms were the lower back pain and then the bulging of the lower abdominal area. So the bulging of the belly, along with those were my symptoms. And then the anemia, because I was craving ice. So I'm like, why am I craving ice? So I knew with those 3 were my biggies. You may be somebody that's like, hey, I'm having very heavy bleeding. I'm having painful cramps. I'm having painful sex. You're married. You having all of these symptoms. I'm having 2-week-long cycles. It's almost for a whole month. First thing you're going to have to do is change your diet. If you're eating fried chicken, if you're eating pork, if you're eating any type of meat, even if it's lamb, Ladies, you're going to have to get rid of the meat. You're going to have to start off with a vegetarian diet. And if it's hard for you, implement more smoothies. You're going to have to completely detox your body. Go back, like I said again, look at no more cramps and PMS. All right. So look at the video on no more cramps and PMS. And I go through the herbs. I go through the detox system of what you need to do to actually cleanse your womb, because your womb has to be cleansed out first. So that's what we have to do initially. All right. We have to have a clean womb space. And then once you do that cleanse and detox, you want to start implementing these healthier foods. All right. So you want raw fruits and vegetables as much as you can, salads, play around with chickpeas and lentils and iron-rich foods, all right? You may even have to get a natural iron supplement, all right, that can actually give you the iron and absorption of that iron that your body needs. All right, so we'll go through that. Now, I'm going back. The doctor told me that the fibroids that I had, most of them were necrotic. I was like, okay. So I'd already started taking chasteberry, which is Vitex. You can find that in your local market. And then I started implementing other herbs. So these other herbs that I implemented, and even one that I take now is called Fibro Defense, FIBROI Defense. So it's Fibro Defense. So the Fibro Defense, and I got it from Dr. Champion here locally. He's a local pharmacist here. I got it from his shop. So taking Fibro Defense, taking the Vitex, cleaning up my diet, doing my liver, then you'll start to, like I said on that, when they're starting to die and go away, you will have some acute pain. Now, this acute pain kind of feels like a little cramp. It's not just excruciating, like you can't live, but you will have that acute pain. So it says that, I think I had pulled up, this sharp pelvic pain. All right, so you'll have because it's outgrowing the blood supply and it begins to die. So because it's outgrowing that the blood supply and it's dying, then you may have this acute pain. So a fibroid can cause acute pain when it outgrows its blood supply and begins to die. So I started to feel that. And so you'll have some cramping. You'll also have the ones that die, you'll have some sloughing off. And also, yeah, I wanted to pull that up. I may pull it up on my phone and find out where I can show you that. Because you will have the fibroids will also have this discharge, right? So you'll have, and I'm gonna look it up while we're on here. So you have, so it says fibroids themselves don't actually secrete any discharge. However, uterine fibroids can contribute to increased menstrual bleeding, bleeding between periods, large blood clots, watery discharge, or pink discharge. Don't be alarmed by vaginal discharge that is grayish or brownish color. This is from the breakdown of the fibroid. It is normal. Expect your next 2 or 3 periods to be heavier than normal. So that is from a UFE. But we're talking about a natural UFE, right? So naturally, you could get this, and doing these steps, you could get this. So it says, why do fibroids cause discharge? Sometimes they grow out from the uterus on a stalk, or if the stalk twists, the blood supply can be cut off, causing pain or vaginal discharge. Women often have an increase in the growth of the endometrium, which is the lower abdominal area. And this results in longer, heavier, clotted, or sometimes more painful periods. All right. So you can get vaginal discharge from fibroids. So how do you know if your fibroid ruptures? When a fibroid bursts, it causes acute blood loss that can become life-threatening. If you have fibroids and experience sudden and severe abdominal pain, see a medical professional. All right. So when a fibroid degenerates, it shrinks back to a smaller size that its blood supply can support. Though fibroid degeneration does decrease the size of the fibroids, it cannot manage them long term. A degenerated fibroids like to expand and degenerate again. All right. Now, the best thing that I have noticed for me, and I want to pass it on to you, is not only the diet, but also the exercise is a very, very, very key component. And I've noticed when I work out and when I'm really on my diet, like eating fresh, raw fruits, that I can feel them shrinking. Actually, you feel the shrinkage, the blood supply, they're losing the blood supply and they're dying. So if you don't have a regular exercise regimen, I highly suggest you put in a regular exercise regimen. Take out the soy, take out the meat, take that out, and you have to incorporate more fresh vegetables and fruits. Okay, now let's talk about the intimacy part. All right, because we do have people who have issues. Let me go back. People who have issues and are in pain, right? And that's due to the size. All right, so it's the size, and I put the link in the description so you can see, like, it is very, very, very painful for some people because of the pelvic pain, because of the pressure. It can be difficult and you may feel unappealing. So it depends on the location. So remember we talked about submucosal, subserosal, and intramural, right? We talked about those. So going back into those, we're talking about submucosal. That's in the uterus along the lining. They cause the heavy period. So if your periods are heavy, that's because it's submucosal. So fibroids on the outer surface of the uterus, they push on your pelvic nerves and cause pain, increased urination, and trouble sleeping. That is subserosal. Then you have the intramural. Those are the fibroids in the muscle between the submucosal and the subserosal regions, and they cause bleeding, pain, or both, depending on how they grow. All right, so that's intramural. They're in between, just like, it's the word. Right? So sex with fibroids. So why does it even cause pain? They're located near the cervix. Often the underlying cause behind painful sex is where they're located. The pressure placed on these fibroids during intercourse can cause anything from a mild discomfort to severe pain. Positioning has an effect on your level of pain. This is very, very important. So what you're going to have to do with your partner, you're going to have to find positions that are not as painful. You have to play around and inform your partner. And this is one thing you're going to really have to do. The more comfortable you feel talking about it, at ease about it, that's going to relieve some of the mental anguish and stress that you're having already around the fibroids. All right. So one thing you're going to have to do is that open communication, like this is how I feel. That doesn't feel good. This feels bad. Let's try this. Let's try that. That's one thing you're going to have to do. You have to communicate. You're going to have to talk to your partner about positioning. Now, teas are really good. I'm drinking my tea, and no sugar, no honey, no nothing, just the tea. That's what we need. Okay, we got to quit all these baby stepping and get straight to it. All right, so let's go back. So it says fibroids can cause the heavy and painful periods that can last days or weeks, which for one thing can even interfere with the activity. So your desire may even decrease because of the pain. So the first thing we have to do is remove the pain. All right. I also, along with the change of the diet, please incorporate some type of yoga practice, Tai Chi practice, meditation, and breathing, because that's also going to help with the calming down of the pain. It's also going to help with your mental state, and it's going to help you communicate better with your body. Another thing when it comes down to intimacy, because it doesn't have to be sexual, okay? For most women, our stimulation doesn't come from, and this isn't for most, intercourse. It comes from clitoral stimulation. So you're going to have to talk your partner, talk to your husband about, hey, this hurts, this painful. I'm not comfortable finding any other, position. Let's work on clitoral stimulation. All right. Let me get that type of stimulation and I can still feel good about myself. And there are different ways that you can still receive gratifying orgasm besides intercourse. All right. So your partner has to be understanding of that. We're going to do another video on that, all the different ways. But for tonight, we're going to stick to intimacy. All right. So just being intimate. So it's really mental, because if you don't feel good, if you don't feel attractive, if you feel like you're in pain, and you're in pain, it's not a feel. It's like, yeah, I feel it, but I'm in pain all the time. My cycles are 2 weeks. I probably get a few days off and I'm starting back. I've had several clients that have had that issue. Even young adults have this issue, like, oh my God, my cycle lasts for weeks at a time. All right. Then you're not even going to be in the mood mentally to do anything intimate. So first you have to come together with your body. And that's why I say creating some type of exercise practice. Not only is it going to help to shrink the fibroids, because your body is going to shrink, and then you're going to be eating healthier, which is going to start to cut off the blood supply, and that's going to cause them to shrink. Now, some people, and along with the herbs, like I told you, go back and watch the cramps and PMS, no more cramps and PMS video. That's where the herbs are. Once again, that's where you can find what herbs to take. So along with that detox and those herbs, you start to feel better. You start to have a boost of confidence, and then you start wanting to be more intimate with your partner, and then having these conversations with your husband about, hey, this doesn't feel good. This feels good. I don't like this. Maybe we need to just go to the clitoral stimulation or other various ways, nipple stimulation or whatever it is that helps you be intimate and still climax with your mate, with your husband or your significant other, whoever that person may be. All right. So treatment, they do have treatment. And like I said, the treatment, of course, they always take you back to the uterine fibroid embolization. And if it has gotten to a point, and if you are not disciplined enough to hold yourself accountable and do it the natural way, then by all means, everybody has a choice. So do what you feel is right for you. But for others, those of us, such as myself, and it's not like I got one fibroid, two fibroid, I have a group of them. And like I said, they don't bother me. It's very, very minimal. And my biggest issue is that the little bulging, and I notice if I gain some weight, it's going to bulge out even more. So my goal is to keep my weight at a certain level so it doesn't bulge out until I'm completely healed. So I'm working on the healing process. Now, our goal is to be raw vegan and to get it to be a completely raw. That's what we want. We want to be completely raw. We want to get to that point because that's where all of the healing comes from. Now, there's other things that you can do in order to heal yourself. If you're interested in those things and what I am currently doing in healing myself completely from the uterine fibroids, I don't care if it's submucosal, subserosal, or what is the other sub? is what, 4 of them I told y'all, right? So subserosal, submucosal, and intramural, right? So those 3. So no matter which 3 you have, or if you have 2 or 1, whatever, wherever they're located, you can do this to heal your body. So definitely send me an email or find me on Instagram, Miss Fitness Diva, or send me an email, missfitnessdiva@yahoo.com, or find me on Facebook, Miss Fitness Diva or Diva D, either one. And then we can discuss further on how we can help move forward in healing your body so you can get back to oneness with you and yourself. So thank you so much. I took up more time than I wanted to. I didn't want to do 30 minutes, but we will be talking more. We also have a women's group. We go more in depth about healing. So the Women of Purpose group is on Facebook. If you are interested in joining the Women of Purpose group, please send me a message, drop me a comment, or email me and then let me know, like, hey, I'm interested in being a part of Women of Purpose. And Women of Purpose, we have Women's Talk Wednesday, every Wednesday. This Wednesday, we're going to talk about the mommy issues. How was your mother relationship and how is that affecting your life now as an adult? All right. So we go through different healing processes. And right now we're doing a healing series in Women of Purpose in order for us to heal. So in the Women of Purpose, we go a little bit deeper. We dig a little bit deeper. So I highly suggest if you enjoy any of the information that is given here and you're getting started on your journey of healing yourself or healing a family member, whatever the case may be, then join us on Women of Purpose, where we dive deep. It's a private group, so any information that is shared is just within the group. All right. So yeah, go back, watch No More Cramps and PMS so you can get the herbal remedies, the reproductive detox, so you'll know exactly what you need to do to cleanse your system, so you can first cleanse the reproductive area, then fill it back with those healthier foods, and then add a meditative practice, yoga, tai chi, something to change your energy. All right. So you have to get the energy change and to calm the mindset, communicate with your partner what's going on. So that way both of you can start to look into different positions that make you feel comfortable, or even outside of the positions. If the positions don't work, then you still can get stimulation where you can still be intimate with your partner. All right. So the links are in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate you. And again, if you have any questions at all, feel free to email me or follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and the link is on my channel. Have a great day.